welcome back. In this video, we'll be looking at future continuous tense, which is also known as future progressive. So let's start. Let's start the session by the definition of future continuous tense. And as usual, I'll be explaining them in two ways. One will be briefly and the other one will be so simple. Let's start with a briefly explanation. The future continuous tense, also known as future progressive, is a verb tense that indicates that something will occur in the future and continue for an expected length of time. It is formed by using the construction subject plus will plus be plus verb plus ing. Now let's see an example of them. Subject plus will plus be plus verb plus ing. For this one, I'll take this subject as I and the verb as walk, and I'll make the rest as them. And remember, for every subject you have to use will plus be. Okay, now let's see the example which I'm talking about. I will be walking. That is a future continuous tense sentence. Okay, now let's see the short explanation of future continuous tense. For this one, I'll be using the help of a timeline. Okay, for this one, I have an example of he will be working at 8:30 p.m. Okay, but 8:30 is not now, not 8 o'clock. Okay, it's going to be in the future. So we will say that he will be working at 8:30 p.m. But it's the duration of 8:30. Okay, the duration between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock is 8:30. So that's when he starts working. Okay, so it's not now. That time is not now. It's in the future. Okay, and continues. Continues for an expected length of time, as I said in the briefly definition of future continuous tense. Now let's move on. Now let's see the structure of positive sentence, negative sentence, and in a question sentence. Let's see how it will be in a positive sentence. Subject plus will plus be plus verb plus ing. As usual, this same structure which we use for the definition. How will it be in a negative sentence? Let's see. Subject plus will not plus be plus verb plus ing. Another one, when we contract will and not, we get won't. Okay, now let's move on with the question sentence. How will be the structure of question sentence? Let's see. Will plus subject plus be plus verb plus ing. Okay, if we closely look at, the subject goes in the second place. Will be at the first and be will be after subject. Okay, it won't be like will plus be. It will be will plus subject plus be plus verb plus ing. Okay, let's move on. Now let's see some examples. For this one, I'm thinking of driving the car at night. Okay, but I'm not really going to do it. But just for an example, I'm saying, okay, at night. Okay, it's the night is not now, but it will be going to be night, and it will continue. That driving action will be continued for a long time. Okay, that will be continued for a long time. For example, I'm using that at 8 o'clock I will start, and at 9 o'clock I will finish that driving work. Okay, but if you may see that there is a long gap, 1 hour gap between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. That is continuing. I'm not stopping and ending the action in 8:30. It's continuing. Okay, so this sentence explains that it will be continued for a long time and it will be in the future and it's not happening now. Okay, let's move on with the second example. For this one, there's a man thinking that in the evening he'll be baking a cake. Okay, maybe there's like an occasion of like a happy birthday or an anniversary and all. Okay, so he's thinking that in the evening when the occasion starts, he'll be baking the cake. Okay, but the evening is not now. It will be evening and he'll be baking a cake. Baking a cake will take a long time. So that continues for a long time, right? That's what you call future continuous tense. Okay, now let's move. For this one, I'm thinking that I'll be reading at the library tonight, which I'm not basically gonna do, but it's just for an example. Okay, I'll be reading at the library tonight. I have a book, okay, and I'm going to finish it, but that's from the library. Okay, maybe I just want to finish that book there and give it to the library. Okay, but reading that there's a lot of pages, so that will take a long time. So it continues for a long period, but it's the night to night is not now. It's going to be at the future. So that's what you call future continuous tense. Now let's move on. Okay, now let's see some examples. For this one, I have like three groups, right? Those are the formats: positive, negative, and question. Okay, let's see the first example. I will be sitting on a beach next week. Okay, for this sentence, I'm just mentioning a time mark, which is next week. Okay, now let's see how will it be in a negative sentence. I won't be sitting on a beach next week. That's how it be in a negative sentence. Okay, just instead of we are just adding won't or not. We're using will be. You have to do at the center will not be, and if you're using a contraction, you have to say won't be. Okay, just for like shortening the sentence. How will it be in a question sentence? Let's see. Will I be sitting on a beach next week? Okay, now let's move on with the second one. She will be taking her exam this time tomorrow. Okay, I've again mentioned a time mark. Okay, this time tomorrow. Time mark is something that is showing something, like is it tomorrow, this time tomorrow, right? And another one is next week. Okay, now let's see how will it be in a negative sentence. Let's see. She won't be taking her exam this time tomorrow. How will it be in a question sentence? Let's see. Will she be taking her exam this time tomorrow? Now let's move on with the third one. He will be playing rugby on Saturday. Okay. Now how will it be in a negative sentence? Let's see. He won't be playing rugby on Saturday. Now let's see how will we say it in a question sentence. Will he be playing rugby on Saturday? Let's move on with the last one or the fourth one. Okay. It will be fixing the car in the morning. How did we say it in a negative sentence? Let's see. I won't be fixing it won't be fixing the car in the morning. That's how you write it in a negative sentence. How do we write it in a question sentence? Let's see. Will it be fixing the car in the morning? Okay. Now let's move on. Now we'll have an activity to recap on what is a future continuous tense. Okay. Now there are some questions, right? There are three questions. So for them, you have to state which form they're in, like whether they're in positive or negative or in a question format, and you have to make correction. Okay, they have some mistakes on them, so you have to correct them. Okay, now let's move on with the answers. The first one: I will wait for you when your taxi arrives. Okay, which state are they in? Yes, they're in a positive sentence. So, what is the correction between them? Let's see. I will be waiting for you when your taxi arrives. Okay, that's how you tell it in a manner of a future continuous tense in a grammatical way. That's not correct. In grammar, it's not correct. But if it's you're saying it grammatically, it's wrong. Okay. Now this is how it basically should be there. This is correct. Okay. Both in an English and in a grammatical way. Okay. But you're just missing be and ing after the verb. Okay. Let's move on with the second question. He will not stay there for over a week. What state are they in? Yes, they're in a negative sentence. Now let's see what is the correction between them. Yes, it's the same. Okay, but for here you may see that will not is changed into won't. That's because they're contracting. Okay, so they're basically both the same. You can say in that way and this way. We're just saying shortly. Okay, be and ing after the verb. That's it. Okay, he won't be stay there for over a week. That's how you say it in a future continuous tense and in a grammatical way. Will she visit her grandparents tomorrow? That's in a question sentence, right? Okay, now let's see what's the correct answer. Will she be visiting her grandparents tomorrow? Okay, this is the correction between them. But remember, you guys have to add question mark at last of the question sentence you're trying to. Okay, but I forgot to add the question mark over here. So, as we've come to the end of our session, I hope you understand the definition of a future continuous tense and the structure of them and some examples and an activity to recap on what is a future continuous tense. So, let's see in the next video. Bye for now.